Hey folks, welcome back to Total War Warhammer 2. I'm making this video to talk about a specific tactical point in multiplayer games, especially in a fast-moving game like Total War Warhammer 2, which is decisiveness. There's been a lot of discussion on the forums lately and various forums that I've been looking at about blobbing. And to be honest, I think blobbing is a lot less of a problem in Total War Warhammer 2 than it ever was. But, there's a lot of tactics that are somewhat abusive against some builds that are dependent primarily on blobbing, on getting a bunch of troops into a big mass and stacking auras and buffs and stuff on them, which, you know, are area of effect limited. And so you need to kind of cram everyone together if you're going to use them. Well, personally, especially with the magic buffs that came in Total War Warhammer 2, I think there are a lot more counters to that kind of thing than there ever were. So I'm using this battle as an example. Now, I'm not a great Tomb Kings player. And this Tomb Kings build probably isn't fantastic. I've got a whole bunch of skeleton spears, 5 of them. I've got the Kepler Guard because they regenerate, and I wanted that. I've got one more skeleton spear way in the back here. I have 2 Tomb Scorpions, 1 standard Ushabti Greatbow, 1 the Sphinx of Usek, the Orowar Necro Sphinx, a Necrotect with the Construct healing ability. I forget what that's called. Can't select him right now. What is it? 1 second. So Necrotect. It's Restore. That's right. And then I have Arkan the Black. I brought Arkan the Black mainly because he has the Lore of Death, and I brought a bunch of his abilities: the Tomb Blade, the Staff of Nagash, the Liber Mortis, all that good stuff. I also brought Spirit Leech, Doom and Darkness, which is, I think, a really useful spell, albeit a little bit expensive. And then I also brought the Fate of Buna and the Purple Sun of Xerius. Now in Warhammer 1, spells like the Purple Sun were barely worth using. They moved randomly, they didn't do a whole lot of damage, or rather their damage was kind of slow. The Purple Sun is really, really powerful now. It does a huge amount of damage, as I'm about to show. So, my opponent took Khazrak, the One-Eye, and he Vanguard deployed his entire army behind me in an effort to catch me off guard. I was worried about being outflanked by the Beastmen since they have these Centaurs with great weapons, of which he's brought, I believe, 5. Or 4. Nope, it's actually 6. In any case, he's brought a bunch of them, and I knew he probably would, so I was like, well, I'm not going to bring any archers because I don't want to be outflanked. That's why I brought Ushabti Greatbows instead of standard skeleton archers. So I've got my monsters over here. These Centaurs with great weapons are pretty good anti-monster units, and they're charging into Greatbow fire, so they're taking a lot of damage. And they're going to charge into the Sphinx of Usek. So this isn't a fantastic fight for them, but it's one they might be able to take just with overwhelming numbers, just by charging down all of my constructs. So I've got Spearmen kind of blocking them up, getting them tangled here. They're fighting the Tomb Scorpion, which I don't want them to do, and they're charging in around the Sphinx of Usek. I do have support fire from the Ushabti Greatbows. Meanwhile, my infantry line is going to meet his infantry line, and his infantry line is so much better than mine, it's not even funny. But look, he's got this big blob of expensive, high-damage cavalry gathered around the Sphinx of Usek, and they are beating him down. The Sphinx of Usek is taking a lot of damage just because he's surrounded by so many armor-piercing units. And so I targeted my my Purple Sun of Xerius right here, and just watch what happens. Yeah. Gone. That's most of the Beastmen cavalry contingent gone in 11 seconds. That unit is shattered, as is that unit, so they're not coming back, just because they've taken so much damage in such a short period of time. That unit is shattered, that unit is shattered, that unit is shattered, and that unit is wavering and well below half health and will rout here. So, in one spell, at the cost of, I think, what is it, 18 winds of magic, something like that, 17? Yeah, 18. For 18 winds of magic, I've actually annihilated the enemy cavalry contingent. He has literally 2 units left. 1 unit that's still functional, 1 unit that is merely breaking, as opposed to actually shattering off the field. I think some people may not know that you can do this. If you do enough damage to a unit in a short enough period of time, they shatter. They don't come back. So you just have to, it's not a matter of routing them multiple times or escorting them off the field. You just have to hit them really, 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 really hard once. And if the penalties stack up to a certain level, they can't recover. So, yeah, I mean, over here, my infantry is getting annihilated by the Gore Herds. Over here with the apocalyptic vision buffs and all that, this Gore Herd is taking the Kepler Guard to Pound Town. They are getting trashed by a unit that costs half what they do, which is what, this is like the Greenskin experience. But look, I dropped Restore on the Sphinx of Usek, and he's fine. He took almost no damage, partially because all the units that were attacking him are now just gone because of that one spell. So this is what happens when you blob. People complaining about... I don't want to sound like I'm the best Warhammer player out there, because I'm not. But if somebody is making a huge blob on you with really expensive units, and they're stacking auras and doing whatever, and landing spells and buffs and etc. to support it, take a big AoE spell, just one. Most of the time you won't use it, but if that happens, if a big blob forms up, drop an AoE spell on them. There aren't any blobs in the game that could survive a Purple Sun like that. Zero. I 100% guarantee it. I don't care if it's a Lariel with her stacking with the Scions of Mathlin aura. I don't care if it's a Bretonnian blob with the lady in it, the Fey Enchantress. It doesn't matter what it is. If you drop a big AoE spell like that on them, they will die. Now, the Purple Sun may be one of the better AoE spells. Flamestorm can do this almost as well. Sadly, the Curse of the Bad Moon is not nearly so good, so you kind of have to... Foot of Gork, though. Foot of Gork does a ton of damage. So, anyway, this is a really, really brief replay, because at this point the guy gives up. You can see we have 5 seconds left in the timer, and he's looking at the... I'm quite sure what's happening is he's looking at the battle and going, well, I can't catch Arkan, because Arkan is faster than Khazrak. I have all my Gore Herd, but my Gore Herd aren't armor-piercing, and so can't stop Tomb Scorpions. And they definitely can't stop the Sphinx of Usek. And they probably also can't stop the Ushabti Greatbows, who have not been effectively shut down because that last unit of Centaurs with great weapons got caught by an Ushabti summon and some skeleton spears, and now the Sphinx is coming over to finish chasing them off. All the cavalry has now routed off the map, except for that broken unit of Chaos Warhounds. Actually, they're coming back. But so he has no cavalry contingent anymore, because it all got blobbed up, and look at that. That's just a pile of corpses where the Black Sun went off. If we look at Arkan's kill count, he has 196 kills, and over 150 of those were from that one spell. So, just some food for thought, I guess. Like I said, I'm not a fantastic player, but there are counters to these blob strategies. You don't have to feel compelled to fight the battle that blob players want you to fight. Take tools to punish blobs. One way to do it is to bring artillery. Some factions have really good artillery. If you're playing with the Skaven, bring Warp Lightning Cannons, bring Plague Claw Catapults, set cheap infantry units to defend them, and you can use them to hammer blobs down over time very, very effectively. The Scions of Mathlon, the Phoenix Guard, all of those units, even stacked all up with their various overlapping wards, doesn't matter. A Warp Lightning Cannon shot will still kill them. If you're the Tomb Kings or the Vampire Counts, take big AoE spells. If you're the Greenskins, take Foot of Gork. These are tools that people kind of deprecate in a lot of contexts because they're not maximally efficient in, like, the theoretical optimum situations. But a lot of times you're not in the theoretical optimum situations. If I hadn't had that Purple Sun, this battle probably would have gone very differently, because all of these Centaurs with great weapons would have been able to beat down the Sphinx. They would have been able to break a unit free to beat down my Ushabti Greatbows. They probably would have been able to break a unit or two free to rear charge my infantry and collapse it even faster, as it was already collapsing to the Gore Herds. And they would have been able to tie down my Tomb Scorpions. They probably would have been able to tie down and kill Arkan, who was already taking damage. So, just the inclusion of that one spell, even though in a lot of battles you'll never actually want to use it, the inclusion of that spell hard counters this entire army, because the strength of this entire army is in its cavalry wing, which is going to blob up on a big target and kill it really quickly, and the Purple Sun renders that tactic impossible. If you try it, you get destroyed. So, anyway, thanks for watching. Like I said, I'm by no means the most tactically astute. I'm certainly not the best micromanagement, but I see a lot of these things happening on ladder, and I think it would be interesting to kind of talk about them and work through some of the various countermeasures. So, like I said, take Vortex spells. They're valuable, and particularly they provide a valuable tool to counter this kind of play, where someone is going to overload one side of your army or one particular unit with tons and tons of units of his own. Those units that they're overloading you with are typically expensive. They're typically somewhat fragile. So if you can hit them real hard with something like a Vortex spell or with artillery or what have you, they will crack. In any case, thanks for watching. If you like my content, feel free to subscribe to the channel, like the video, what have you, and I'll see you in the next one.